understand where we're coming from. And a lot of us, stress is a habit, right? It's something, it's almost like a flag of honor or a badge of honor that people wear. It's like, oh, how are you? Oh, I'm so busy. I'm so stressed. I've got so much going on. It is, we have built up in this last decade, the idea that you have to be so crazy busy. And then that's when you're really, contributing and being a part of life and all of that. And we're forgetting that that is not our biological process, right? Yes, we should work. Yes, we should be comfortably and authentically engaged, but overwhelmed, busy, it's counterproductive. And one of the things that happens is when you get super busy is that you get outside of your purpose. And we know that. And we've talked about how when you're younger, you have these dreams and these aspirations, and then the grind, right? You get the life of having to earn enough money to pay your rent and to make investments, to have family, take care of parents, take care of other people. And we get into this grind and we start moving out of our purpose because we start lining up with everyone else's purpose for us. Right? We start answering to what everyone else wants us to do, and we move away from what our purpose is. Now, your purpose and who you are, most likely the people that I know that are, on this call or watching this, you're going to be taking care of other people's needs also. Of course, if you're a parent or if you have, you're taking care of older parents or siblings, or you're always going to take care of them because you feel that sense of responsibility, but it should not be at the detriment of yourself. Like your purpose is who you are. And I'm sure at least everyone on this call right now, part of that is taking care of the people around you and being supportive. And that is authentically what you do. And you do that with joy and happiness most days. But it should not move you away from what your purpose is. And so there's kind of like these little triggers that people say, if you're out of purpose, it means because, you kind of feel like you're in a fog, you feel like you're drained, you're just, you can't even get through the day without being exhausted. Something's missing. And I put this list in the worksheet so you can kind of read through it. And I want you to really kind of sit with yourself and say, okay, how am I, we're realigning with purpose. So I also want you to look at how are you consistently out of purpose right now? What are the things that you are doing? Next week, we're going to be working on task triaging, which is we're going to do that listing. Some of us did it a few weeks ago. We're going to go through that exercise again. So I want you to see what you do on a daily and weekly basis that pulls you out of purpose. It's busy work. It's work that you're doing to make other people happy, to answer other people's needs, but it's moving you away from your own needs. Because what we're going to do is we're going to switch. We're switching the switch. And because the idea is that we start navigating with intention. And I kind of wanted to do this like overview to kind of, so you can see where we're going, because we've already started with the aspirational vision statement. And like I said, it's going to be messy. It doesn't have to be beautiful sentences. It could be just words. It could be drawings, whatever it is. So you can get whatever is in your brain and in your heart in a place where you can look at it and start identifying with it. We're going to start outlining goals, which we're going to work on today. And with those goals, we're going to put dates. We're going to put deadlines on them. And because I really want everyone to understand that these goals are just for the quarter. These are 3-month segments. So this isn't the big aspiration. You're not going to get to the big aspiration in most cases in a 3-month period, right? So you're going to build on it. So, and then we're going to start breaking down to action steps. And of course, the whole point of the accountability group is to do it. And then we're going to start checking back with the vision statement and making adjustments and then just kind of repeating the process. This is not a one and done deal. And in the beginning, you're going to do something and you're going to be like, 3 weeks later going, I changed my mind, and you can change it. You're allowed, and you can edit it, and you can move these things around as long as you keep moving forward. That's my whole request, is that no matter what you do, no matter how big the steps are or how far you can go, just keep it moving forward. If it's the smallest thing, if that day you decided, I'm going to clean my linen closet, and then you're like, you know what? I'm really proud of myself. I cleaned out a shelf of my linen closet. That's fine, because that's what you could do that day. And so you realize, okay, maybe the whole linen closet is too big of a thing, and I'm just going to do a shelf. a shelf a week or a shelf a day, whatever it is, you can break it down further. One of my little favorite things I keep going to is, how do you eat an elephant? You one bite at a time, right? And sometimes you might take too big of a bite. So that's okay. Take it out, make it smaller, and then, then reassess it. So although I want you to put a time on it, it is about keeping you motivated and moving forward. But these deadlines are self-generated, so they should not be a point of stress. It is just about keeping you moving forward. It is not, if something happens and you need to shift your deadline or shift what you get done by that date, that's fine too, because you're doing it with intention. It's all about being aware and doing it with intention. So today, some of you are in different levels of where you've gotten with your vision check, with your aspirational vision statement. So this next kind of exercise is what I call the swag quickie. It is based off of a SWOT analysis. So when I was doing corporate work within my own companies, and also when I was doing consulting work, I would do SWOT analysis, which is a great way to do an assessment for a company, which is strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And that's kind of the beginning point of how they will revamp what their focuses and intentions are with their companies. So what I've done is I've changed it around, and I call it the swag quickie. So it's a little bit of a more personal aspect of it. So it is strength and weaknesses, aspirations, and then goals. And so sometimes goals will switch back and forth between goals and gifts. Gifts are kind of your strengths, but if you've done any work with, there's the quizzes that you can do for your gifts of the Bible, and there's other places, the gifts. So if you want to also focus on that, you can too, and start, realigning with your gifts. So where you want to start is with strengths. And now the reason I call this a quickie, because I only want 3 pieces. I don't need to know all of your strengths. I just want to know the top 3 strengths that pop into your mind. And then the next one is your weaknesses, just 3 weaknesses. You don't need a whole litany, because the other thing too is that a lot of us will be able to do our weaknesses like nobody's business, right? We can have like a dozen things. I'm bad at this and then, we find our weaknesses really easy to find, and the strengths are the challenges. So I just want 3 of each. Don't go overboard with that. And then, what your aspirations are. You've been working on your aspirational statement. If you were to break it down into 3 aspirations, what would those be? And then out of that, what would be the 3 goals that you would want to start lining up for the quarter? And this is kind of an exercise that if you can do that, you can start, just if you're doing kind of a litmus check of what your aspirational statement is and where you kind of are at the moment. And then we also use this. So last week we covered what is your A to Z. And in the worksheets, I was asking you to kind of like do an inventory of where you are now, and just kind of do an inventory, a quickie, like an inventory of where you'd like to be. Again, fluid and changeable. And this week, I want you, now that you've worked on your aspirational statement, I really kind of want you to go over that and look at, you're checking your Z. So look at your aspirational statement, look at where your starting point is, look at and start looking at what your right now, what are your right now goals and the action steps, and just kind of looking at the aspirational statement now as a functional piece more than just a aspirational piece, and how it affects the work. And this is we're getting into the goal planner. So this is my thing. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And in this case, the elephant is our aspirations. All right, so we have quarterly goal planners. In this week's worksheets, I put a fillable set in there. I will be breaking those out and adding those to the worksheets in the vault probably over the weekend. So the goal planners, and you've seen, there are already some there, so you've seen them. And basically, you're looking at, there's 3 pages. So what is, goal 1, 2, and 3. And then you start breaking down the tasks and the action steps. Now, the accountability is more than just meeting with us here. When you are putting on the action steps, Go ahead and tick like a little date on that, right? So, and it doesn't have to be a specific date. It could be just by this month or this year even, and start just kind of organizing priorities, because that helps you prioritize what you're doing. And this is all, we're all working this towards getting done 3 goals in 3 months, right? So we're doing all of this so that in January we can kick off, or in December. If we get all of this done by the beginning of December, then we could kick off in the beginning of December. That way we're jumping into January with new habits opposed to resolutions. I'm going to go on a tangent because that's what I do. So I don't do New Year's resolutions because they're just so ambiguous. And so like I know Althea, she does an exercise where she's like the word of the year, which I love. So you kind of go through and pick out what your word is going to be. My word is activate, is to do things, because my strategy, my survival strategy is I make the plans, I do the things, I build the stuff, and then I don't engage it. I should be doing videos, more videos. I want to start doing like a little daily or 3 times a week, a little sniglet on YouTube, and start getting that stuff out. I have the scripts, I have the slides, I have the outlines, and I haven't done it yet because I haven't activated it yet. So that is my safety thing, is I'm being safe and I'm making myself excuses. So I'm committing to start to do that. So you guys can hold me accountable to that. But so find something. And so I would rather start outlining the habits that will help you succeed. Like Jeannie, you were talking about you're doing this whole new kind of diet thing. So what are some of the habits of that you could do so that when you're starting your goals and tasks and action steps, how are those habits going to support? The other way I use that too is, so, we talked about bookending your day. I think everyone's been through that one. There's a worksheet, or if there's a video on it too, or if you want to call me. If you don't know about it, you just call me directly and we'll go through it. But we bookend the day, right? We start the day with 3 intentions in the morning, which is kind of 3 action steps that we can get done that day. And then we end with 3 gratitudes. So when I do my morning intentions, so for me, for a long time, I wasn't working out. So, 3 times a week, one of my intentions for the day was to walk. Well, as that became a habit and I was fine doing it, I could take that off of my 3 intentions, and that just became my habit. And so I was able to focus my energies on other things, getting fired up energies. So that's the same thing. So we want to start building habits now that are going to help you move your goals forward. And they don't necessarily stay in the action steps area because they become habits. And so it takes a little bit to get the habits. So go ahead and start them now. If you want to start, your goal is to eat better, or to do, you want to. So I have, a friend that's preparing to walk the Camino, which is a really long hike. So she can't just like say, I'm going to get ready and like buy the stuff and whatever and show up and think she's going to walk the whole thing, right? So she's bought her boots and she's starting to walk a lot, and just breaking in the boots and looking at the equipment and checking things out and checking her weight, the backpack weight, and starting to walk and do the things. And that is she's building that walking habit that's going to help her achieve her goal. So that's the other thing when you're talking about accountability. It's not just getting done that thing, but it's also developing the habit around that thing that's going to make that more natural and easier to attain. So a lot of people not a lot of people, some people ask me, why 3 goals in 3 months? So one of the downfalls of doing a New Year's resolution is like, I'm going to lose 40 pounds this year. So what happens is all of a sudden you get to October or November and you're like, I haven't even lost 2 pounds. I got to lose 40 pounds in 2 months. That's not going to work. So the whole idea of breaking it down into what the aspiration of the year is, and then breaking it down into segments and then moving it along, is so that you start working on it from the beginning and you start spreading it out. And so you're not just waiting until the deadline is on you to try to jump on something. You're actually breaking it through. And we're trying to move away from being deadline driven and being more action flow driven. So that's why I do 3 in 3 months, because that way it gives you 4 segments to get things done, to retrack. If you feel like, this month something happened, it was like a huge family emergency, or you were invited on a free cruise for 4 weeks, or whatever, it could be good thing, bad thing, and you didn't get done in this quarter what you thought you were going to get done. So when you're planning out the next quarter, you can rearrange it, right? You can bring those things forward and say, okay, I wasn't able to finish the outline of my book, but I was able to get some other things done. So, the outline of the book comes forward in a more done way, because maybe you started it, but you didn't finish it. So now you've got other things that you can bring forward, or you can rearrange it, but it gives you 4 opportunities to kind of look at, adjust, and reorient yourself. So that's why I break it down. So we kind of meter it out over the timeline.